I wanted to come on here and talk about, or continue talking about what a recent video that I did involving the whole Harlem situation with the barbershop scene and whatnot. And shout out to Tariq because he had to have a strong stomach to show us on one of his recent live streams some other clips from that show. That show from top to bottom and everywhere in between is just cringe all the way around. I mean, it is bad writing, it's a bad script, it's just not a good show all the way around. It just has some few notable faces in it to draw people in. And if you have a Prime account, then you can go ahead and watch the entire season. I won't be watching it. I'll put it like that. Y'all pretty much got that vibe from the video that I did. But I wanted to come on here and talk about this tweet because this is adding on to that. And I thought about actually adding this into the video that I already did, but I said I need to separate this because I have a new, it's a new narrative being spun out here. But I'm going to tack on to that by giving my own take. So you have this person whose name is Kimberly Nicole Foster, and I have heard of her. She actually has a whole YouTube channel and a blog called For Harriet, and it's just a haven of black feminist talking points and anti-black male misandry all the way around. And you're gonna see a few things of why I said this. This is not just this one right here, but I was responding to a tweet that she showed or that she put out there, and it was in response to the clip, the barbershop scene in that show Harlem. And she said, I've had straight black men, and she made sure to write straight black men in all caps, tell me he avoids barbershops because they're toxic. I do not believe her. You telling me a straight black man walked up to you and told you to your face that he avoids he avoids barbershops because they're toxic? That doesn't even sound like something that would leave the lips of a straight black man at all. And people was going in, they said, are you sure he's not in the academy? Because that's the only one I could think of that would say something like that. But they've been going in about this entire weekend. Like, you literally had them come at it with every freaking talking point that you could possibly find to try to disparage this. Now, they always want to talk about spaces and having spaces and having spaces. But when black men talk about the space that they have, also, they call it the black barbershop, the black country club. Here they come invading the space and then say why it's toxic. I'm like, have y'all been inside of these hair salons and see some of the stuff that they talk about? Then I replied to what she said, and I said, this tweet reminds me of the black man in the academy who tried to shit on Dave Chappelle and say a trans person in New York came up to them and said, Dave offended them, knock it off. Do you ever get tired of lying, Pinocchio? And when I was talking about the Dave Chappelle thing, I actually talked about it in one of the Saga videos where you had this man in the academy, this black man in the academy, said he was walking, and some person who was black and trans walked up to him and said that Dave Chappelle's new special, The Closer on Netflix, offended him. I said, cap in America. If you expect me to believe that shit, we can just sell that bridge one of the several bridges in New York for free. If you believe that. And when people were saying, what barbershop did this happen at? Who said this? Tell us. Is there a video of this happening? They always came back and deflected and basically tried to dance around it. So we knew they were lying, because if you can come and say something that blasphemous, you better have the receipts to back it up. Because like I said in the previous video, this is about protecting our image. Black men, this is about protecting our image. Some of you may not care about your image, but I do. We have literally been tossed around this entire globe in a cycle, like in a wash cycle of fuckery from people outside and from people within for way too long. And we're trying to salvage and save what's left of our image that we can save. And people have been going in on these people all weekend, and rightfully so. Like, they literally have so much fun going in on black men and think it's a joke, which is why I titled the video the way that I did. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this right quick and show you something else that's very interesting. It's coming from this Kimberly Nicole Foster. Now, this was a tweet that someone had posted and sent to me. A shout out to Big Easy A right here that sent this tweet or this thread that came from her from last year, June 27, 2020. Now, keep in mind what she said about straight black men. She said, bro, I am tired of transphobic black women. Keep in mind, this is why I say black women, some of the black women out here don't like you either. If they calling you a pick me and all of this shit, she don't like you. She said, bro, I am tired of transphobic black women. It's getting to be too much. If you're a black woman, destabilizing the gender binary and questioning normative gender is in your best interest. Y'all would rather chase after the pedestal of white womanhood than consider some new ideas. Count me out. This chick is not right in the head, and I've seen some of her videos, and I can tell you right now, it seems to me like, I'm not even going to lie, sometimes I wonder if she did a few lines of coke before she even turned that camera on. I'm going to just be completely honest. She says, you're never going to get what white women have because you are black. Your blackness is the obstacle, and I can't see because it's copied to the clipboard, so I can't see beyond that. And she says, your hair or black men, as long as you are black, I can't see that. And then she says, femininity, it was made to keep you out. But the way that she talks, it seems like she's trying to fight her way to get in. But look at what she said. She's tired of transphobic black women. Keep in mind, these are black men who are getting operations to be black women. So she's perfectly fine with a black man who's trying to be her. But she has a problem with straight black men who affirm and stand on their square and have some authority. That's what she has a problem with. These type of women are freaking dangerous, period. Not just to black society, but to society as a whole, at large. Now I'm gonna pause it again, and it's something else that I wanted to show you. It's actually a tweet that I made. But before I get to that, let me show y'all this. I almost forgot. And shout out to one of my other followers at Bobby Brown, not the singer, on Twitter. And this is from her blog post that she made back in June 2014. And like I said, this is For Harriet. That's her name on Twitter, not on Twitter, on YouTube. She says, why I will not march for Eric Garner. In parentheses, I can't breathe. And she used this picture of this man dying at the hands of Daniel Pantaleo. Now look at the tags. Home, intersectionality. What have I told y'all about that shit? That's probably why she made that transphobic tweet about black women and why they being transphobic, because that lines right in that non-gender, non-binary bullshit, lines right up in with the intersectionality ish, sexism, social justice, and why I will not march for Eric Garner. I have seen a lot of black feminists say that they will not march for black men, they won't do this for black men, but yet you'll see that black ass out there twerking because they need the attention, they need the views, they need a blue check, which is exactly what this chick got. I keep telling y'all, these fools, they cannot be trusted. Now let me pause it and go to my tweet. This is the tweet that I made. I said, black feminism is white feminism in blackface. Spread the word. Just a bunch of hashtag BlaKKKarens running amok. Tell me I'm wrong about that. That's basically what they are. That's why I titled the video the way that I did. Black woman in skin, white woman within. Basically, externally, they are black. We can see that they have black skin. But internally, they are as white as the cream in the middle of an Oreo. Just like the Coonstress. That definitely applies to her. This Kimberly Nicole Foster, that applies to her. Professor Crunk, Brittany Cooper, applies to her. Anyone who comes out with that anti-black male misandry all the damn time, and I mean all the time to push up talking point, their new nickname is BlaKKKaren. I can't say BlaKeisha, because at least Keisha is aware of her blackness, even though she could be a little bit ratchet, but at least she's aware of her blackness. BlaKKKaren, on the other hand, she's aware of her blackness to an extent while internally still honing on to white womanhood. I swear, if some of these women could be like Carolyn Bryant and some of them act just like her, they would. And it's time we actually started thinking and treating them as if she is a Carolyn Bryant. And we know how she is. When I hear some of these women talk about, aborting black male babies and all types of stuff like that, I keep thinking that these are some of the worst people on the planet. And it's crazy because white women are the one that gave them feminism, but a lot of them white women have a man to go home to. What are they going home to? A cat? Cats? Dogs? An iguana? Some parrots? God, I hope not a parrot, because that means the parrot's going to repeat everything she say. That means it's like living with two echoes in the house. And some of them are just downright miserable. Like, you know, they say misery loves company. And like I said, this doesn't just apply to Kimberly Nicole Foster. It applies to anyone who sounds like her. And unfortunately, on this app, it's way too many who sound like her. And then if you throw in the members of the academy, the black ones and the black males in particular, especially, they're no better. Because they're going to peddle the same things that she does. Probably while wearing the same thing she does. I don't know. I got into it with two pronoun people on Twitter the other day. I just had to end up blocking them because it was like talking to a brick wall. They want to talk about what gender is this and what gender is. And the whole time I found out that cisgender thing that they like to talk about. Do you know that actually that was a phrase that was coined by a white German man back in the early 90s when he was talking about transgenderism? And then they came up with the term called cisgender to separate it so they could try, so that would be a way to identify what you were actually born as. So they are taking the talking, when they say cisgender, their talking points come from a white German man. In case y'all didn't know. And I think I don't know his name. It's a German name. I can't think of it at the top of my head, but it was a phrase or a terminology that came out in like 1994. So we're talking about a phrase that is not even 30 years old. Or a terminology that's not even 30 years old. Something that they just came up with. And they took it and ran with it. And the way that you see a lot of black people talk about it online, you would have thought it was a black person came up with it. So shocked to my surprise when I found that it was a white German man. Interesting, right? We see who they get their walking papers from. We see who butters their biscuits. We see where they get their talking points from. It usually goes back to the root. The only thing I think that people like that Kimberly Nicole Foster and those of like her who coined anything was that intersectionality crap. I think a black woman or a black man. No, I think it was a black man in the academy that came up with intersectionality. So a lot of these black feminists don't even have a talking point of their own. They just pedal off of everybody else like a bunch of leeches. But they take it and they run and do marathon sprints with them. And that is what makes you think they came up with it. So how original are they is the question. Some of them are faker than a $3 bill. Just as plastic as a freaking Barbie doll. While trying to probably look like one at the same time. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. I wonder how far this video is actually going to go. Hell, I'm curious if this video is even going to get back to her. And if it does, I really don't give a damn. It just is what it is. And like I said, black men, we are just tired. And we are just tired of constantly being berated in this way and not saying anything. Well, I'm saying something. Hopefully more do. But let me show you something else I thought was interesting. So shout out to @TheRealZarp on Twitter. Again, I'm getting a lot of assists with this. They say, you're absolutely right. Professor Black Truth pointed out that Jennifer Crumbly claimed to be a feminist in her open letter to Trump, and then went on to say how other groups are mooching off of the system and how unfair it is to hardworking white Americans. Let me pause this right quick and blow it up. So this is the post that came from Jennifer Crumbly, who you know is the mother of Ethan Crumbly, the little terrorist. Posted November 11, 2016, which was days after 45 won the election. She said, "Dear Mr. Trump, dear President-elect Mr. Trump, feels funny to even be writing your name like that, but you made history on Tuesday. I'm not going to lie. I was scared shitless to circle your name on my ballot. I have been back and forth on whether to vote for you or not vote at all. I struggled to make myself find a way to trust Hillary Clinton as a president, and I could not. You see, I am an American woman. I value..." Now, notice that she said I'm an American woman. Because she sees herself, she's the elite woman in America, the white woman, right? Yet she didn't vote for a white woman as president. I value the equality of the LGBT community. In fact, I hold that in really high regards. I am a feminist. I value women's rights, most likely white women's rights. And I want to be alive when I see the first woman become president. But as an American woman with a 10-year-old child who was Ethan Crumbley, I could not have that first woman be Hillary. Now, keep in mind, it was a lot of black women who was stomping for Hillary Clinton back in 2016. And I'm sure that that Jennifer Crumbley was on the side of them until she saw and heard what, as she says, Mr. Trump said. And then she says, I want to have a woman president, but I could not see that first woman being Hillary. See, and then you had the black women who was supporting Hillary Clinton get mad at black men who wasn't supporting anybody when she didn't win. No. You better check people like Jennifer Crumbley, who you thought was on your side. You thought you had a friend in Jennifer. Nope. You thought you had a friend in Jen. You didn't. And now you're seeing it for what it is. Now you are seeing it for what it is. Or are you allowing yourself to see it is the question. Some of you don't even want to see that. But that's not my problem. It is not my fault. But hey, when you're feeling down and out and you want to feel unappreciated, and you just feel like flapping off at the mouth, just hop on line on Twitter on this platform and just talk shit about black men, in particular straight black men. Because see, the thing is, whenever we're not kissing their ass or not bowing down to them, then that's when they get upset and get mad. Then they invade and then they cry. Then they bitch and complain. Then they might go away for a little bit. And then like a braided boomerang, they coming right on back to talk more shit. Now here you have a white woman, Jennifer Crumbley, who I'm assuming was married to her husband at the time, James Crumbley. I don't know what his political leanings are, but let's hypothetically say that they are Donald Trump. Or, conservative. She wasn't about to go against her husband. She got on code. I guess the light bulb went off for her and she saw the writing on the wall and said, Hillary Clinton, she can't get in. It can't be her. I want a woman president, but it can't be her. So Trump said something that triggered something in her psyche that made her want to go and vote for him and not for Hillary. But like I said, you had a lot of these black feminists get upset with black men, even though, number one, black men didn't even make up a huge chunk of the people that would have caused 45 to even get elected. And there were other black women that voted for him too, but they had all the smoke for black men. That's why I said to be a black feminist has to be like living, like, I don't know, living in a snow globe with black snow. It's a small enclosed space and everything's falling around you and you can't really see a damn thing. It's like living in limbo. It has to be, where it's just a one big dark area that you can't see in and you're yelling forever and you're the only one that can hear yourself talk. It's like being in an echo chamber and you're the only one there to hear your own damn echo. But yeah, these individuals are some clowns. I'm just putting it out there what it is. It is what it is. They are some freaking clowns that have fallen off of the bandwagon on their way to the Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers 3-ring circus. And they need to find their way back. The point of the matter is the house is out of order and has been out of order for quite some time. And one of the main reasons it's out of order is because of you. To the black feminist, feminuts, femicycos, femisickos. It's because of you. I know taking accountability is like kryptonite for you, but if you want any chance of salvaging anything, which I highly doubt and I don't have any high hopes for, then you will get yourself in order. Hell, this got into the point where even some of the best black female scholars don't even want to deal with you anymore. Like, look at Ayanla. Most of her people that she had to fix were black women. And she had to stop because it was too much for her. You even have other black female scholars that you probably have heard of, so they got to step away. Dating coaches, marriage counselors had to step away from dealing with you because they say you were their hardest subject to deal with. Out of all the people they've ever had to deal with, you were the hardest one they had to deal with. That's called being a common denominator. That's not an exception. And that's not a good thing.